part 2 of the psychotherapy, which I am intaking the depth into the dive of the relationship fundamental structures we then see between man and woman. In the previous video of the initial onset of the psychotherapy, we dive into the anger at the finalizing portion. We leave off at the anger that which you as a man might now feel based on the fact that this whole time you had been a good man. Now, in understanding that based on this good, gentle nature, you were then chosen as a mating partner. And in the anger itself, you would now accept that your anger is based off the fact that you simply did not yourself get to explore your temptations because you were given a more difficult path based on the maturity you achieved in a different way, which is the character arc you began the moment she ended hers. And the arc of the man and the arc of the woman are correlated to a similar event. In the event of the woman, you could actively see that she began her arc the moment her taking of innocence was given. Whereas now you see as a man, your arc begins in your taking of innocence. Which, if you were of a good man or of a gentle nature the entire time, you were not chosen, but you now are given, and she selects you. Well, then guess what? As a man, she is now whom she wants to mate with, which means your desires are now her wants and needs. And in result of this particular notion, you must now realize you have to be more dominant as a man, which is the moment you begin your arc. And the idea of creating the healing, we must leave the anger aside based on the opposing experiences neither opposing sex understands about either opposing sex in that particular nature, because man and woman do not naturally coexist unless if it is a choice. Other than that, man and woman do not coexist together apart from choice. Which begs the question of inviting Christ into your marriage all of a sudden, which is a notion explained in the previous video. And the idea of inviting Christ is the idea of inviting an individual that you essentially take the anger off, whether you are a man or a woman. If you may not necessarily have the true level of connection that a real marriage may now be binded from, in the completion of the arc resulting in a circular pattern resulting in life. The moment she ends her arc is where you as a man begin yours, and the moment you end yours is where she begins hers. And now you see how creation occurs. In understanding the divinity of holy matters regarding creation, you must now realize as both man and woman that the coming together is of a choice, which means if you wish to come together, it is a choice, which means you must communicate what you need in order to get there. And you as woman may not necessarily communicate as easily towards a man that you might feel has of a judgmental nature, and you as a man might be afraid to be more dominant to a woman you seek to love and respect. Notice that from this particular statement, you can actively see where the orientations derive from the opposing partner parent and their sex, which is where the person learns how they begin to understand their form of understanding love. And if a person's development is in any way changed of the minor degree in the ultimate potential of the story, you can actively see a tremendous trajectory change. And so that begs the question, well, who cares? We're all people. Let's all live and let's all just get the fact out of our minds that we are all sinners. You might be a good man. In order to be dominant, you need to sin. In order for a woman to feel as a woman, you need to sin. And this begs the question, at which rate is the moral compass of the individual resulting in the coming of the full circle? So, end of hypnosis. In the beginning portions, we analyze the darkness behind the pain of woman. But in understanding the pain of woman, we then see the pain of man, and then we see that in the miscommunication of things, we can create a healing where both, not only just man or woman, but both man and woman may now come together and say, I'm sorry you've been hurt, and I'm sorry you've been through that as a result of me, possibly. But we can move forward together from this point and change the path forth. And the idea of a psychotherapy is meant to create a healing, which is in essence a reconnective state where you can actively come together once again. And in the psychoanalysis of the relationship model, we can then understand how both, not just man and woman, but how both man and woman correlate to one another, which is all based around the choice of forgiving one another, whether you were the first, the middle, or the last. The idea of inviting Christ into your marriage is the idea of forgiving all partners, which you as not just man, but not just as woman, but both combined have as a result generated your partnership together with. Thank you.